Hey guys, Tommy with Studio Sense here. Welcome to a new day, brand new video. Over 30 years ago, Davidoff released and could have never anticipated the reaction to a fragrance called Cool Water. Primarily the male population reaction at purchasing the fragrance has become one of the most iconic aquatic fragrances ever released by Davidoff and is generally considered one of the most affordable aquatic fragrances for summertime. Not surprisingly then, Cool Water has seen a tremendous number of flankers. There are a ton of different kinds of Cool Water. So today we're looking at another one that is brand new, was recently released, and that is Cool Water Reborn. So apparently the reincarnated version of Cool Water, possibly the coolest Cool Water. We're going to take a look at that, do a quick unboxing, give you my first impressions. That and more is coming your way, so stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. Happy to have you here today. I'm going to go ahead and read really quickly the marketing tchotchke that was released for Cool Water Reborn. It says, a legendary olfactive signature combining freshness, power, and hedonism. Since that auspicious birth over 30 years ago, Davidoff Cool Water has regenerated itself again and again. Today, as ever, it rises and brings with it new erotic pulses of the sea. The legendary fragrance breaks through the ocean for a new age. Discover Davidoff Cool Water Reborn Eau de Toilette for him, where the aromatic notes of rosemary, locally distilled at the harvest site in Tunisia, blend with the elegant sensuality of vetiver from the island of Haiti. So with that kind of build up and information, we got into the notes just a little bit. But before we get into the notes in more detail and talk about the fragrance, smell it and everything, let's take a closer look at that presentation. The box is actually totally black. In silver lettering, Davidoff Cool Water Reborn is at the top. On the bottom, you've got Eau de Toilette. It is a 4.2 fluid ounce or 125 ml bottle. On one side, it says, I am a clean fragrance, basically indicating 94% natural ingredients. It's vegan formula. The alcohol's naturally derived, and it's crafted with responsibly sourced vetiver. You gotta be responsible about your vetiver. Along with an FSC packaging sticker. On the very back is the paragraph that I just read about the Tunisian rosemary and Haitian vetiver. You've also got an address at the bottom and Davidoff Parfums, which is the website at the bottom as well. And then on the other side is the ingredients listing. On the bottom of the box, you've got a UPC, a QR code, and a batch code of 2066. We're not going to spend a ton of time on the presentation simply because this looks very similar to Cool Water. I really like the elegant lines of the bottle. It says Davidoff Cool Water Reborn in silver lettering at the top and then Eau de Toilette at the bottom. So it is an Eau de Toilette concentration. The cap is black plastic. The gradient starts dark blue at the top and at the bottom is clear glass. So the juice itself is not colorized. So there you have it, Davidoff Cool Water Reborn. It is exactly the same presentation. Cool Water Reborn is more similar to your standard Cool Water bottle where you have those same beveled lines on the side, but the gradient is kind of the nod towards what's different and new about Reborn. What about the notes in Cool Water Reborn? Well, it doesn't list a lot, so there aren't very many published notes. We know that there is a naturally sourced Tunisian rosemary in here. In the heart, there's galbanum or galbanum, however you want to say it. Then in the base, you've got Haitian vetiver. Three keynotes that we're going to kind of focus on. So let's go ahead and pop the cap and check out that fragrant smell. Pretty decent atomizer. It throws quite a bit of juice out there in one spray. Got a pretty good 4-inch radius there in circumference. So quite a bit of juice in a single spray. Straight out of the atomizer, it's very reminiscent of the original spicy kind of effervescent Cool Water that we all know and love. So you've got the spice there, but if you compare them side by side, which I just did off camera, because I was like, does this smell just like the original? It doesn't actually. It's what I would call a softer spice and more polished. So thankfully it feels very reminiscent of the original Cool Water. So everything you know and love about Cool Water, you'll likely get those vibes from Cool Water Reborn, but the spices that are used are a little bit more elegant, a little bit softer. The thing I like about rosemary is a very pungent spice. High quality rosemary is a little bit less camphorous. A lot of times when you smell rosemary, it puts you in the mind of camphorous fragrant notes similar to eucalyptus or lavender because it's very aromatic. What I like about the Tunisian rosemary, it's got kind of like a high quality pine wood or a little bit of a charred wood tonality about it that makes it just a bit citrus-like, very evergreen. I love that whole evergreen feel that it adds to the Cool Water fragrance. It's almost a herbaceous feel, and that makes sense because rosemary is also from the same family that you get basil and other like minty kind of fragrant notes from. So it carries that same lightly camphorous, very pungent, denser, darker wood appeal. I really like that about rosemary. It's definitely part of the appeal in Reborn, but you also you can't take away the aquatic from Cool Water. Cool Water, it's built into the name, it's built into the DNA, so there is that very refreshing aquatic blue. It's less oceanic, it's less briny, it's not really sea salty, but it's more refreshing, like the zesty crest of a wave, the splash of water. So it's a very refreshing aquatic fragrance. That same DNA is built into Reborn. Do I think it's a surprise? Do I think it's surprisingly different? I can't really answer that. Let me go ahead and spray it on skin, let it dry down just a bit, and I'll be back with my final thoughts on Cool Water Reborn by Davidoff. Okay, so let me start off my final thoughts, or the conclusion of my final thoughts on Davidoff Reborn, by stating that if you're looking for the end of the road as far as refinement, and you want the most refined version of the Cool Water DNA, I still recommend Cool Water Parfum. What I will say about Reborn, this contains something called galbanum in the heart. It's slightly resinous. It gives any fragrance in which it resides a kind of intense green, woody, lightly balsamic kind of overtone. It's sometimes described as earthy or forest-like, in that it gives it, again, similar to rosemary, a kind of evergreen or pine scent to a fragrance. What it's doing in Reborn, in combination with the rosemary, the galbanum, the rosemary, and the vetiver, together combined, they're making this an extremely sudsy, soapy kind of sensation. So this is the most soapy, sudsy kind of cool water that there is on the market today. So if you like that soapy, sudsy, clean sensation along with a green, herbaceous, piney, lightly charred woody scent, that's pretty much the best way that I can describe Cool Water Reborn. Along with it being obviously an aquatic fragrance, you still have that aquatic body, zesty crest of a wave, again, that I'll use to describe the density of the aquatic fragrance in Cool Water. But honestly, when I smell this on skin, I can't help but to think of a bar of soap. So this is hands down the most soapy Cool Water that has been produced yet. So if you like that, then you'll probably really enjoy Cool Water Reborn. You'll probably want to get this over the original Cool Water as a result of that. If you're not really into the whole soapy, sudsy, shower fresh, clean, then you probably won't really care for this version of Cool Water, and you want to stick with the original or go straight to the Elegant Parfum. It is an eau de toilette concentration. It has really good performance so far on my skin. So far it has a really powerful 2 to 3 foot radius, so I'm going to say that's going to be pretty much a beast for summertime. Soapy fragrances seem to be really good for high heat, and we are definitely in a high heat situation this summer, so definitely want to break this out and use it if you're looking for a soapy, sudsy version of Cool Water. Cool Water Reborn currently is a brand new release. I'll go ahead and put the pricing here because it is subject to change depending upon where you are and when you watch this video. Is it worth the price of admission now? As with most Cool Water fragrances and flankers, I highly recommend waiting until it is sitting on discounter shelves before you actually purchase it. If you are a lover of all things Cool Water and you are a collector and you have spare funds, of course, then there's no reason not to purchase it. It's not very far from the original Cool Water. It's just a lot more soapy, sudsy, and fresh and zesty feeling. And I do like that about it. Well guys, that's it for my brief unboxing and first impressions of this brand new release from Davidoff. I do like the fact that they focused on really fresh ingredients, soapy and sudsy, and that's a really nice clean vibe, especially in the high heat of summer. Thanks for stopping by and checking out today's video. As always, thank you so much for your support on my channel. I'm Tommy with Studio Sense, and I'll see you tomorrow.